Today's topic is about activism as artists. So before that, we're going to talk a little bit about who you are. So I've got Mahogany Jones with me. I'm really excited.
Oh my God. First of all, I just want to say there's nothing like love and support. It was so awesome to just see like you and just my camp just there to hold each other.
We were like at the DA, I was like, I'm going to sit right in the front.
Thank you so much, because that is, it can just be really overwhelming and sometimes intimidating, and not to know like there's people there who kind of just like have you, and so it was really dope. Just like, those my people, they got us.
We were so excited. So excited. There was this woman who was sitting next to me. She was visiting from New York. She's like, do you know who she is? I was like, that's my friend. I love her. She's so good. She's like, oh my God.
That's so crazy. Yeah. Still buzzing. It was so good.
I think that's the most lit I've ever seen at the DIA.
Yo.
I have never seen the Rivera Court packed like that.
It was crazy. It was legit a crazy experience. So
that was all
you all may be wondering what was happening at the DIA and why I was at the DIA, what was going on. My name's Mahogany Jones, and I'm a recording artist, an arts educator, as well as an advocate. I think there are people who, I used to say activist, and I realized, like, I'm an advocate. I mean,
that.
I believe I'm an
like
activist
that.
in many ways. I try to put action to what I see in the world that should be shifted or changed, or we should change the conversation. And I guess these passion projects just kind of come on my heart, and I do something. And I think everybody's activism or action is different. I think it's sad when we're inactive and we choose to not do anything. But I don't know. I went too far. So that's a little bit about
jumping ahead of the game.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my students. It's so funny. I was saying last week that I'm now public, so my students can look at me on Instagram and all that stuff. So it's interesting.
Oh, they're peeping you. Of course they're peeping.
Of course
they want to know.
Of course I was in, I don't know if you know Mona Haydar. She had this video called Hijabi. And it was like called Wrap My Hijab. So I was in that video. And my students, like, they were like, Miss Tazeen, there's a video, and there's a
one looks just
look-alike.
like you. It's like, you know what, students?
I was like, that's me. It's me, guys. It's me. So, yeah, it's always funny.
That's dope.
Their reactions are always funny. Are you guys leaving? You can talk. You can be in the background and talk.
We have friends leaving.
People here.
There are people here. We're doing big things. We have the AKA Trinino Low, AKA Nino, AKA True, AKA, you know, as the jazz heads call the new heads, the Young Lions, AKA Young Lion on the trumpet, about to go to Cliff Bells and do his thing. He's ready. And so, now you have to come say hi. Right, he's coming.
Oh, Nadine's on. Hi, Nadine.
You have to come say hi now. She's like, no.
Have to say, I already put my okay.
She's like, no.
There he is.
Hey.
There he is.
Yes.
What's Gucci? What's really good? Y'all alright? Cool. Yeah. Alright. Yeah.
You about to play at Cliff Bells?
Yeah.
Let him know.
Okay. Tonight I'm at Cliff Bells with the Alexis Lambre.
8 to 12.
Yeah. I'm with the Alexis Lambre Quartet. 8 to 12. Yeah. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be Alexis, myself on trumpet, Jonathan Mercotton on
What's your name?
Oh, myself, Trinino on trumpet. There we go, since we want to hear my name.
And when's the next time? When's the next time?
Jonathan Mercotton on bass, Louis Jones III on drums. It's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be a good night.
So after y'all finish engaging with us, you can head to Cliff Bells and catch it.
Just head over there.
Just do that. And
just like
that.
that.
Yeah. Come. Everybody music getting played.
Everybody in the sorry.
My music.
Everybody music getting played.
My music, her music. Yeah, everybody music getting played.
Everybody.
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
I have something to get my vittles.
You gonna say hi?
Yeah,
He's always saying hi.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move.
It's like live in here.
This is live. It's a very relaxed experience.
It's a relaxing experience, and this is the Temple of Sound, as we like to call
I like
it.
that. The Temple of Sound.
Temple of Sound and Magic.
So now you have to come say hi too.
Oh God. No one knows me. Yeah,
Everybody knows. What are you talking about?
Hello,
so the whole family.
What's up, everybody?
Got the whole family.
Hey.
So that's real. Okay, so wait, introduction, so people know your names. Let them know.
Okay, my name is Ismail, better known as Lou Fuki, from Lou Fuki in Divine Providence.
Killing them on guitar.
My boo.
Yeah,
Hey. Hey.
one part of it.
Everybody got their
This
all.
is Mike. This is Mr. Mike Mufford.
What's going on,
The one and
everybody?
only.
Enjoy the show. Welcome
Yeah.
to the Temple of Sound.
Yeah.
It's like the opening credits before the show.
Right.
I'm about to run out.
But
I'm
that
gonna come
always
back
happens.
enjoy the rest of the show. I'm hungry. And
Go
I
on.
told
Go
Tremino, I
and get your
said, go
food.
get my vittles.
Hi, Jordan.
And he looked at me and started laughing.
Just go.
All right,
get
bye.
your, just get out. Go get your food.
I think that's one thing cool too, that when I think of like the idea of like activism, it definitely involves other people. You know, I think a lot of times if I get an idea to do a project, nothing happens without people or community.
Yeah.
You know, so just even this, you know, your venture to do this, and this is a form to me
True.
of activism. You know, so yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, let's just rewind then. So we're talking about activism as artists. So how would you define activism? You talked about advocacy is another term for it. So what does it mean to be active?
I think it means to use your platform and to use your resources to represent people who are underrepresented. I think that's one way that activism looks like. I think another way that activism is shaped and how it looks is to galvanize people. I think everybody has different strong suits. You know, some people's strong suit is being able to bring people together for a cause. Some people's strong suit is to be able to like fund different causes. So
True.
you may not be very social, but you may have the bag and you may be able to like
Really, there you
fund.
go.
Yeah, like yeah.
We're looking for those people.
Right,
We're
right. You
always
know,
looking for those
it's
people.
like it's so important. You may have like very strong administrative and organization skills. So I just feel like like activism looks like just what it says. It's being active. I think being an advocate means just what it says. It's like, okay, being an ally for someone, being able to stand in the gap for people who a lot of times are isolated or pushed to the edge or marginalized, and they don't have people to represent them, or people are quiet when their issues are on the table and it's not them being really effective. So I feel like the heart of activism is empathy and compassion.
Yeah. And I think it's finding something that you're empathizing with others and you have compassion for others, and you say to yourself, I want to do something positive for you. And I want to do something positive for my community. And I think another one of those questions is like, what do you choose to be active in? Like, there are so many movements and there are so many things that you could be an advocate for. So how do you decide, okay, I'm going to take my time and energy and my resources and I'm going to put it into this thing?
I think that really speaks to purpose. I think this question where you're asked, like, if there's something that really makes you angry, what is that thing that makes you angry, that if you could fix it tomorrow, if you had all the resources that you needed to fix it, that you would fix that thing that just really bothers you. And normally it's something that is somehow has affected you. You know, it may not be super direct, and it may be, you know, or it may be just like it's indirectly like touched or affected your life. And I think just follow that true north. You know, I feel like a lot of times I know me personally, I get overwhelmed with everything that's like wrong in the world, and it discourages me, and I found myself like torn in so many different directions trying to do everything. And it's like, you know, you can't be at every march, you can't scream out for every cause. You know, in order to be effective, you know, don't find yourself in a position where you spread yourself too thin. You know, speak to those things that really, you know, speak to you. Like one artist who I really admire in her activism, and it's so sweet, but just so on purpose. It's little things. So her name is Amber Jean, and she's in a group called Moonchild. And, you know, today she was singing, she was doing an Erykah Badu cover. But while she was doing the cover,
She's from here?
I don't know where she's from, I don't think Cali. But while she's doing the cover, she has on a Black Lives Matters t-shirt. And she's Caucasian. So it was just like, you know, just the little silent things, you know what I'm saying? And that's, I listen to her at her concerts, you know, she's very vocal about it. In her music, she drops little gems. I had an opportunity to be a part of an art exhibition called The Couch, The Beautiful. And one of the people in it, she wore a shirt, and the shirt said, stop, I won't say the cuss word, but it said, stop effing killing us. You know, and she used her moment on the couch. You know, she could have done anything with her moment. You know, it's like, that's your moment. You know, shine, be beautiful. And she's beautiful. But she chose not to use that moment for that. She chose to use that to say, hey, this is wrong. Stop it. And that picture will be
immortalized.
It's out there. You know, so I just think it's those conscious choices and decisions, you know, that make the world a difference, and we all just kind of figure out what's our part and how we can do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Got a couple more people. Hi, Christina. And Reem is on. And Khadija's on too.
Yeah.
And Fatima. We got a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here. We're talking about activism with Mahogany Jones.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a couple of things, like, you know, wearing a certain shirt when you're performing or when you're doing a photo shoot. So as artists, I guess with us, because we're doing music, what are certain things that you feel are like easy ways to be an advocate as a musician?
I think those. I think, you know, sometimes what you choose to wear, you know, it's interesting, again, I guess an advocate for their faith. Kim is by no means like a gospel artist or whatever, but when he has breaks, he'll take a time to just share about his spirituality. You know what I mean? So it's just like, or, you know, creating music that speaks to issues that affect you. And it doesn't have to be your whole catalog, but, you know, taking time to be intentional. I think that was so great about like music in the 70s, music in the 80s, even music in the 90s. It's like we saw issues that were like readily affecting us, and it wasn't like a thing. It was like a commission of all the hottest artists. It's just like, yo, you know, when we think of like We Are the World, that was epic. Like somebody said, hey, we need to get together and we need to speak out against, you know, the extreme poverty and, you know, just the world being riddled with hunger and just third world issues. And we're going to do this song.
And we need to use our platform
to do it.
Put it out.
It's 2018, and I think you know what? It's been maybe 30 years since we've had like a moment like that in music or entertainment. It's a bad look. Even when you think back in the day, like Gap ads, you know, or different or what was it? Colors of Benetton. Colors of Benetton is a great I think model for arts and activism.
Okay. Can you tell them a little bit about it?
It was a brand of clothing back in the day, much like Gap or Guess, and they were very on purpose would use different people of color in their ads, and that was a big deal back in the 80s, back in the 90s, to use different nationalities in your ads, especially when everything, I think, back then and even still now was very whitewashed, you know, no disrespect. They did that stuff like that on purpose. They did campaigns that service different areas of the world on purpose. They said, hey, we're going to take a part of our proceeds and we're going to donate here, you know, or I think even that, you know, it's like you have this big platform and you choosing to say, hey, I don't agree with this, and doing it so that your fans can see I don't agree with this, and asking them to research or providing information for them for the cause that's troubling you or that's wrong, and rallying them. That's one way. I think another way is you may never do a political song in your life. That may not be your bend. That may hurt your brand, right? But come up off some of that bread. Let people know you're donating. And if you don't have a lot of bread to come off of and you're an independent artist, you know, encourage other people who do have money.
Show people that you support these things.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, you talk about, you know, maybe it's going to hurt your brand or whatever, but I think that we went to Santana's concert last summer. And Santana, like, there's this article out where there was an interview with Santana, and he talks about how, like, he plays black music for white people is really what's happening. But when he was at his concert, he is very, like, adamant about what he believes. So he was like, you know, I believe in love. This is, you know, for love, for justice, for peace, for all. And he doesn't shy away from speaking against things like, you know, speaking against Trump or speaking against, you know, what's happening in the government or, And people were upset. Let me tell you, like, people were upset. There were a lot of people who were just like, this is music, why are you doing this? And he was like, no, music is about humanity, and these are issues that
affect humanity.
Exactly.
And nowadays we're so afraid to talk about what's really touching us, and I think, and everybody has their different opinions, so I'm definitely not here to upset or offend anyone. To upset or offend anyone, but, I think that Trump being elected was awesome because immediately we saw how policy affects our everyday lives.
Yeah.
It was immediate, when we think about just how quickly immigration laws shifted and how it began
Right
to
away,
ravish homes and families and people, and it was just like,
Bye, Trina.
wow. See you, Shrew. Have a great
Have
day.
a really great show.
Bye. It's just like, yo, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's wrong. It's like, as much as we need fathers in the household, for you to take away people who are good fathers, from their families, or, just disturbances happen quickly that immediately touched us, and it was just like, oh, I have to wake up. I have to do
wake
something.
up and I have to do something. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, because we don't really think about how people in power have that direct effect on policies and how those policies directly affect our lives.
I'm sorry, I keep bringing up stuff, but I think another thing that shows the power of artistry and activism together is, I believe that a lot of artistry and social media campaigns and conversations around women have, we think about the Women's March, when the Women's March happened, and we think about all the groundwork that was kind of being laid, this quiet rumble of, slut-shaming marches, this quiet rumble of years of Denim Day celebrations, which are basically the last Wednesday in April, where people come together in major cities and wear denim to support the end of victim blaming. We think about these things that have been rumbling and happening over the years, and then we think about how the Me Too movement came out, and as soon as that happened, it was just like, wait a minute, we went from date rape 10 years ago finally being something that is punishable by law, right? To this, we really live in a culture that's like, no, we're not going to tolerate it. So to see this rash of like famous people in their industries just be called out, like, completely. We stopping your money flow, we stopping your power, like, it is unacceptable for you to abuse your power, and we are not going to be in support of it. How
powerful is it to see that happen?
Definitely.
So true. We have some comments here, so let me go through them. Meek said, yo, peace. Sonia said, that's so real. That's how his music feels too. About Santana. True. Khadija said, even before election and with the little ones too. Christina, I love that. If you can't do, support. I can't protest all the time, but better believe I'll give or support in other ways.
And I think that, what's awesome too is just the awareness. I love, a lot of people are a lot of quote unquote real activists, which is why I turned mine down to advocacy. We'll talk about people who are like social media activists or, be a social media activist. How many people are like, we're unaware, how powerful, again, Black Lives Matter was. I think that there was a whole generation that was numb to the idea and thinking that we live like in a post-racism era, but to think when Black Lives Matter kicked off, and it was so many young people that woke up and was like, wait, there's things going on in the world that are not right. Maybe we don't live in a post-racism era. Maybe there are some things that I should speak about. Maybe I need to feel some type of way, so.
And it's important for young people to feel that way. We were talking about this yesterday. I told you we had met Shay. Yes, recording.
And I just spoke to her today, and so I'm sorry. Yeah, well, speaking of, I hate to derail, but we'll come back. So, another great artist, activist, partner in crime, friend, someone who I admire is Piper Carter. And so we're part of an organization called We Found Hip Hop. Actually, she founded it, and I'm work with her in the organization. And we're doing a mixtape for women in hip hop.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And so we were just talking about her. And how dope
saw
she
your
was.
post and I was like, she better be on this.
Yeah, she is, right. And we reached it, and that's interesting too. I think You know, we reached
And
out
Neek,
to her.
you should reach out too.
Yes, Neek, you know we asked you. Hopefully we get a song. Hate to call you out. No. You know I love you. I'm just joking. But we really do want a song. I'm not joking. We need it soon. Okay. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and there's something else going on I want to talk to you too about, Neek. I'm sorry. I love how I can just break fourth wall and talk
I know,
to
it's
like
just,
my
like, right
friends.
there.
You're right there and I'm talking to you and you heard me. But it's something great and I have to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but just this idea of, you know, a lot of times women's place in a lot of industries, but definitely hip hop, is quenched. And so the fact that it's like, okay, we're just using songs we have and we created to just make a presence.
Exactly.
Bam, mixtape.
And
know.
you can't do anything.
And you can't do anything about it. It's available. It'll be available on SoundCloud, Bandcamp. All you can do is like get it and then have somebody else listen and maybe think different about a woman who is in hip hop.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I was saying earlier just about that. We were talking to her yesterday about how we were talking about Black Panthers and how it was young people, like 18, 19, 20, 21, creating huge social just changes from the ground level up. So to never think that just because someone's young, they don't have that power, that ability to push something.
And I think too, when
She
you
said
think
hit
about
me
that. Okay, I will again. When I think about the idea of activism, yes, I am an activist because if I see something's wrong, I want to figure out what I have with my friends and what they have and what we can do about it.
Yeah.
And that when you think about the Black Panthers, when you think about those different things, I mean, I think a lot of times we can be intimidated by the macro way of addressing addressing issues that are wrong, so like changing policy or all that. And a lot of times it seems intimidating, which it doesn't have to be intimidating. I think, you know, we're in a place and we're in an era where we can learn about policy and how to pick candidates and what's happening, and it's not just the main election, but that it's, you know,
See the smaller things.
yeah, the smaller things that affect it, and putting our hands on that. But yeah, you see something's wrong and you figure it out. You know, I was speaking to someone, and he was like, you know, the people who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to do stuff for ourselves. It's like, okay, your kid's not learning the history that they need to learn. Guess what? You
You gotta
teach
do
them.
it,
And it's like, okay, thank God for YouTube.
Yeah.
You have to know everything, right? So
So
we just have to
true.
do for ourselves.
And I think what you're touching on is you have to know who is in your sphere of influence. Like, who can you affect? And this kind of leads us into the next part, which is you don't have to be an artist, so to speak, or a musician, so to speak, to be an advocate for something, to be an activist. Like, my side job is creating music, but my day job is I'm a teacher. So if I'm teaching at the college, I teach Arabic, and I teach in Dearborn, and it's mostly Arab kids that I'm teaching Arabic to, you know, and having discussions like, just last week we had this discussion. They were learning about names in Arabic, and then they were learning about this one word. It's a negative word that means slave, that some Arabs use against Black people. And some people have no idea why it's wrong. Some people just think it's okay because everyone's, you know, been saying it. So for me as a professor to say, okay, we're going to stop everything we're doing today, and we're going to have a conversation about this word. And we're going to talk about the history, we're going to talk about why it's being used, when it was being used, what can you do to change it, what's the negative connotation, like how does that affect our communities? That is something that I could do as a teacher, you know?
Again, use what's in your toolbox to speak out and to lay the groundwork that you can. That's huge. And I mean, I think for me too, you know, I don't remember when I'm in this discussion, actually at my church, talking about like facing race.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I was like, well, how effective is this gonna be? It's like, okay, I'm being in a room with a bunch of Black people talking about race. That's stupid to me personally, because it's like, okay, nobody, whatever.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. It was all races represented. It was beautiful. And it was good to get to have real conversations, you know, and in that, the thing that came up was this idea that in making relationships, the mental stigmas that you have of other people or just encountering those other people, they fall away. And they fall away not just for your friend when that person becomes your friend, but for other people who look like somebody else who doesn't look like you, that's your friend.
Yeah.
And our country is has these invisible walls, and they're set up like that on purpose, you know. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And I mean, cities are separated
On
and
purpose.
segregated on purpose.
On purpose.
So you're not going to see anyone who looks different than you.
And it's important because, again, you see the similarities. You know, I think one of the greatest things, one of the other things I get to do is be a U.S. cultural ambassador using music. And for me, you know, they send me to try and kind of like break the stereotypes and break down the walls of what people think about Americans. But it's awesome for me because the walls and the things that I had in my mind, the little stereotypical, they get broken down. You know, I'll never forget a second home for me is Khartoum in Sudan. And it was beautiful. You know, I remember, I think the mystery and the question marks that I had about, you know, my Muslim brothers and sisters, you know, before going, you know, and I had been to Suleimania, and I had been to what is it? Starts with a K. Not Kurdistan. Kurdistan.
Okay.
Tripping. Kurdistan and Iraq. And I had been to those countries before I went to Khartoum, but I didn't really get to stay long.
Okay.
But in Sudan, like I was in Sudan for maybe a month and a half.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? The first time I had 3 months and a half
you've been
stints.
multiple times.
Yeah,
Okay.
3. And it become like home, you know, so it's just, I can remember just coming home and longing, you know what I mean? Longing to see the beauty of like women or little girls like in their jobs. And, you know, just, I remember that. And I remember I was driving somewhere and I saw this school and it just, my heart just made me so warm. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? But
like I missed that.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, had I not had that experience to interface like that, I don't know if I would have had that same warmness. It would have been question marks and not bad or not bad or good,
but just, you don't know.
Question marks.
Just
you
the
don't
unknown.
Exactly. You don't know, and I think that happens. You know, I mean, I think it happens with anything that's different. You know what I mean? So we just gotta say, hey, can I go to lunch with you?
Let's just
talk.
talk.
Can we just talk? Or can I treat you to coffee? Can I treat you to tea? And okay, you know, and two, just helping us get over the fact that it's like, people are people. It's some good people. It's some people with lovely temperaments. It's some people who are just quiet or shy. Some people are jerks.
How it is.
You know, it doesn't. You don't have to associate or take that to a whole ethnicity of people. It's like people are people.
Within each group, that's the thing. Within each group, you're going to have good and bad.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is.
That's just
you're not gonna have an entire group of people who are the most amazing people. It's just we're all humans. I think it's interesting too, like, for me, being Muslim, being a woman and wearing hijab, like, most of the time I'm covered, you know, when I'm performing and whatnot. And it's always been interesting because I feel like I don't see that many people that look like me that are covered that are performing. So when I'm in those spaces, I feel like that's huge too. Like, it's a small thing. It's not like I'm doing anything. I'm just dressing how I normally dress. But I happen to be in that position while doing it.
And it's so good. You know, I think about, you know, I taught at DIA, you know, and a large population of the girls there are Bengali, you know, and it's just like, how dope is that? How do you know, again, it's like, I remember, you know, I can count on the times where before it was in to be of color, you know, when I saw someone who looked like me on the cover and what that did for me, you know, and how quiet and how silent, how quiet and violent it is when you don't see yourself represented. How it's like you're invisible. It's like you're invisible. You're not wanted. You don't matter.
And no one has to say that. You will just feel it.
You just feel it. It's like, oh, you're not here. You're not here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I don't have to even open my mouth and say the reason, but no.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I can't imagine how powerful that is to see, like, man, she's powerful, she's true to who she is, like, and she's stunning and she's dope. Like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, so I just
And I think part of what plays into that is like the fact that you are doing the work that you're doing and you're doing it with confidence, and you're doing it with this joy, you know? And if you see someone who looks like yourself being super confident, you're gonna say, why can't I want that too? Like, I want to feel like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think that that's the biggest part of activism for artists, or artistry and activism, is it's just that, the fearlessness to be who you are and to just overcome the fears and the insecurities that you do have, because you know you love people and you want people to have that freedom. You want people to have that joy. You know, I know before I did my show, I was at DIA, I was terrified, and my friend asked me, he's like, well, what do you want to happen? And I was just like, well, I just want everybody to experience love and joy and feeling empowered.
That's what happened.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, and that's how I want to feel. Like, I want to feel that, and I want everybody else to feel that. And I feel like when we do that, it just give somebody else permission to just be. Give somebody else permission to just be. And if we could be, if our beings could do that for everyone, that everyone has permission to just be who they are, that is
full love and acceptance. And I think that's the thing that's hard, is like people who haven't experienced other cultures or haven't just met with someone who looks different than themselves just feel like, oh, I don't understand them, they don't understand me, we're just so different. But it's like, essentially humans are all the same. Like, we all want the same things, we all feel the same things, we all bleed the same blood. Like, it's all the same. We might look different, but everything else is the same.
And on purpose, like, there's things that I love to do when I travel. One of the things I love to do when I travel is watch kids with their parents, and how I don't understand a word, but I understand everything that's happening, from tantrum to I'm happy and we're playing, to you're playing too much and cut it out. You know what I mean? All of it, because
it's the same.
It's the same, right? Same thing. I love watching, I know this is bad, either like people who, friends hanging out, group of friends hanging out, you know, and you could tell when shade is happening. It just, you know, it's all the same, right? Or people who are in love, you know, or lovers who are arguing. It's all the same, you know?
Expressions.
Yeah,
like, all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my challenge to you, is that if you, and to be honest, I think a lot of times we're not honest with the phobias that we have or the fears that we have. Keep it 100 and say, okay, I have this phobia of this group of people, and that could be people who are disabled, that could be the elderly, that could be, you know, another ethnicity. Be honest with yourself, acknowledge that you have that fear, and then the best way, somebody said this and I thought it was great too, you know, the best way to get rid of the boogie monster is to turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. It's like, okay, I have this fear.
You said that, and as soon as I said it, I actually did.
Turn the lights on, you know, and face it. You know what I'm saying? Just bow. Like, okay, I'm going to go in this group of people, and I'm going to notice all the ways that we're the same. And then I'm going to notice all the ways that we're different, and I'm going to, of those things that are different, see which ones I can appreciate. So that's great that that's different, because I think that's a whole nother thing too. You know, you hear lame stuff like, oh, I don't see color. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? You better see color. Why would you mean you don't see color? What is that? That's
a lie.
It's a lie.
A straight up lie.
And it's terrible. Like, why don't you see my color? My color is beautiful. It's a part of who I am, and that's extraordinary. Like, why don't you see that a difference and celebrate that difference with me? Don't. It's not a bad thing, you know. And the same thing, you know, for you, I think, you know, and it's interesting that it went to like race or ethnicity, you know, but a lot of times my heart is heavy for people who, you know, we say people of color and then we say white. And it's like, well, white is a color. But in all fairness, whiteness is a construct that was designed to separate on purpose, you know. And so I would love to see a movement where people dismantle that and say, oh no, I'm Polish American, or I'm Polish Italian American, or
and be proud of that.
And be proud of that, because like everybody else say what American they are. I'm Asian American. I'm Arab American. I'm African American.
Then then what are you then?
What are you?
That's so true.
You know, it's
that's
some bull.
so true.
That's some bull. Like, no, you have to. Where are you? Where are your people from? You making me say where my people from? Where are your people from?
Yeah.
I'm just American. What? How you get to just be American and I have to put a hyphen?
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, but how do you get to be American when there's natives?
Yes, who were
Who are
here?
here.
They were here and they're still here. How do you get to be American?
You don't get to take that over.
Right,
You don't.
right.
You don't get to just say, well, I just changed the land. And,
Right, that's
and people
it.
who look like me are people from this land, but you're not even from that land.
Right, you know, like that to me is like, that's some bull.
Christina said, we should honor heritage rather than being afraid of even acknowledging it. So true.
Very true.
Because you just said word.
Very true. Thank you. Good. Very good. Very, very good. Hey, where are you in the world?
She's in Indonesia. She's teaching kids.
Oh, I see you're doing what we're talking about. We miss you. That's great. That's really great to hear.
And if you guys have any questions or anything, you can comment them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When we were talking on the phone about this, about doing this, you talked about micro and macro, and you touched a little bit on it. But I guess maybe what are some micro tools that we can use as artists and as non-artists? You know?
Again, social media.
Definitely.
I think being aware of what's happening. I think, like I said, being intentional about spending time with people that are different and look different than you, and engaging in their culture and asking questions and not being afraid to offend if you're coming from a place of love, but genuinely asking questions. I think, you know, if you're financially well-to-do, or if you're not financially well-to-do, if there are causes that you can support, you know, like when the hurricanes happen, it's like, okay, I can imagine.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you got $1, you got $5. Like, don't just keep going on about your life because your basement's not flooded.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just I think the most macro and micro thing in the same time is to just live by the good rule. Like, do to others as you want done to you. Like, have empathy, be compassionate, try and find some compassion, try and find some way to just think about, what if that was me, what if that was my family. And if we started doing that more, I think we would see a lot more activists. And I think that's the smallest yet biggest and impactful thing that we could do.
I think one of the huge things, like one, at least for me, that allows me to do that, or maybe puts you in the mindset of doing that, is being someone who is like spiritually grounded. And that doesn't mean that you have to follow a faith tradition. Doesn't even mean that you have to believe in a a divine being. I think it's more about,
that was very good,
you know, more about really tuning into yourself, how you feel in any given moment, why you feel that way, and questioning not only yourself but what's happening around you. That to me is what spirituality is.
And I would say too, you know, I don't think that there's anything. Ooh, that's good. It's so good that you say that. I think the base of being able to empathize and have compassion is being able to identify with a spiritual source.
Yeah.
And we all have different ways that we identify, but don't be afraid to identify. I think we live in a culture and a generation that is scared to identify and acknowledge that there's a spiritual source. And when you live life like there's nothing bigger than you, we're
then
living
it's
in it's a scary existence. And that's the existence that we live in. People, you feel hopeless when you don't feel connected to a source that's bigger than you, and you feel reckless when there's nothing that's bigger than you, and you don't feel responsible to anything bigger than you, or you don't feel like there's anything consequential that'll happen.
Exactly.
And it's just like, you know, we look at how greedy we are and how we are ravishing the environment, you know, and it's like, and I'm not gonna front, like, that's not like, before in past years, like if you asked me what was a big cause that I was like, ooh, you know, I'll be on the front lines for that, the environment was not one, right? But when I really look at just how crazy our weather's been, when I look at just the quality of breathing, when I look at how many people are getting asthma, when I look at how many people are getting sick, it's like, okay, that is because we are selfish. We don't think that there's anything bigger than us, and we don't take responsibility.
Yeah. We're not taking care of that which is giving to us. Like, we are taking oxygen. We need oxygen from the earth. We are taking from plants. We are taking from animals. If you eat meat, you're taking from everything the earth is providing to you. And I feel like I do the same. Like, am I that conscious about it? Sometimes, and
I
sometimes,
am, sometimes
like,
I'm not. Right. But I think just even that, again, just conversations and just being aware, but starting with that. Thank you so much for speaking to that, because I believe in that. I believe that when we're able to, like, tap into just the fact that, like, we come from a greater source and that we come from God and that God lives inside of us and all around us, and we come from that place of love, that we can love people better. We can live better lives.
Yeah.
You know?
That was actually one of the things that Ismail and I were having a conversation about this after the Friday Night Live show. And I really loved and appreciated the song that you did where you were talking to God. And I felt like that song spoke to me, and it spoke to so many people. And I loved that you weren't afraid. You were just unapologetic about, this is something that I was feeling. Like, this is something I was questioning. This is a conversation I had. And I'm not going to be afraid to say that out loud. And I feel like we live in a time where, like, everything's taboo and it's hush-hush and, like, you know, don't talk about those things. But it's like, but I'm feeling that. You know, that's something I'm going through, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going through, like, having questions of, why is there so much negativity in the world? Why are people suffering? Why did, like, certain things happen in history? Why, you know, why did this happen to my people? Like, there's those questions, I think, innately come up. And you can't just
skirt around them.
Exactly. You can't pretend that they don't.
There. Yeah.
And you also, I feel like you also can't just say, okay, well, whatever, I know the answer and it's fine, and it, like, I'm cool now. I'm just going to put it to the back of my mind.
Right. Which is, and that's good. I mean, that's so deep that you say that too, because so two things, and I hope I remember to go back to the first point that I was going to say, is I feel the same way when I see, like, you perform. Like, you have a song that directly speaks to, like, your love relationship, you know, with God. And I was just like, man, like, I love that, you know, and again, it doesn't, you know, you don't have to, like, take up the whole space, because it does make some people uncomfortable, but I think it's when we're unwilling to be honest with other people with where we're at, and, you know, we paint this picture perfect, like, oh yeah, I'm there, I'm picture perfect, and I picked this faith, I've got it all together, I got all the answers, and it's like, no, I don't. I'm failing miserably every day,
and I'm trying to figure it out.
My best to figure it out. And these are areas where it's great and I'm great, and these are areas where I'm not great. And guess what? You have those areas too. And guess what? It doesn't matter, because that's how big God's love is. Yeah. You know, so just
and being unapologetic. What was the first point that you were going to talk about?
That was it. That was the second. Okay. Yeah, that was it. But I remember being at the music hall. Yeah. And I forgot what the song, I think it was
Luster?
Like, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. That song is so beautiful, you know what I'm saying? I love that song.
I sing it all the time.
I love that song. Isn't it great? Oh my gosh, I love that song. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I almost want to put you on spot and have you sing it.
No, this is your time to shine. But you just said anti-religion is the new religion. Interesting. Yeah.
True story, which is sad, because there's so much to be found in a solace in faith, you know. And I think too, you know, just we've gotten so dogmatic, and I think that speaks a lot to American culture. You know, American culture and capitalism is about my way is right, my way is right, and it's just like, you know, most faiths will say gentle, and it's like, okay, and if we agree to disagree, we agree to disagree. And guess what? It's still in love.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So just, if we could just do a better job of, like, in love, the in love part, I think we'd be all right. But no, everybody has to be right, and it's a war, you know? And
I think, like, it's fine if you believe in something or you don't believe in something or whatever it is, so long as just don't impose that on other people, and don't let that negatively affect the way that you see and treat other people, to, like, believe that someone is less than because they believe or they don't, or they practice this or they don't. I feel like that is really unfortunate, because at the root of most faith traditions anyhow is, how do I deal with the suffering of this world, and how do I come together with other people and live a happy and joyous life? Like, and I think we're all trying to do that. It's, you know, it's not like I want to live and be miserable. No, like I don't think anybody wants
I
to.
want to live in
I
misery.
just want to be.
Leave me alone.
Just want to be
in my misery. I wanna be
unhappy
unhappy
all the time.
But you know, I mean, honestly, it's really sad. But there's so many people that are like, we're used to being unhappy. We're used to being miserable. It's like we don't know how to function not being miserable.
Yeah.
You know, which is
It's
like
true.
a new scary thing. You know, we are so, no disrespect. You know, we're just so like, I don't know.
I think it's because we as Americans who buy into capitalism and like this consumer society, like we're just not grateful and not grateful for little things, you know, and appreciating those little things. And I think part of being an advocate and part of being active means that you do have to be grateful for those things too, or else you will be overwhelmed with how much there is to change and how much there is to work on.
And that's interesting. I think it's the reverse. Like, I mean, not the reverse, but it's all, you know, it's both sides. I think when you're thankful and grateful and you see all the things that you have to be thankful and grateful for, and then you stop and you think about someone who can't share that same gratitude because they don't have that, that should build empathy in your heart, you know?
That's true.
So it's like, dang, you know, I have this, and this. You know, I think, so one of the things that I struggle with is vanity. And so, you know, I have when I don't wear makeup, like I have blemishes, and I'm like, oh, I hate my blemishes. And so
I got mine right here.
I'm like, oh, somewhere
and the
over
light's
here,
so
right?
bright.
And the
When I
light's so
first
bright,
put it on,
I'm like, dang, right? So, you know, it's something I really just struggle with personally, and you know, it's been a big thing ever since I've been a teen. And I'm like, oh, I hate that blemishes. No, I wish I didn't have blemishes. I'd be so much prettier. Blah, blah. And then I saw this. Okay, so then I saw this thing. Is a documentary on this woman. It was called The Woman with No Face, and it was a woman in Africa who, I forget the country she was from. I want to say her husband was from South Africa, and they had to come to America to have the surgery. But it was literally a tumor that had consumed her whole face, and it made her eyes like, she could barely breathe. Like they said, if the tumor had any more room to grow, that it would kill her because it would push her brain back and it would impede her ability to breathe. Yeah. And I'm like, girl, be thankful and grateful. Like, all those blemishes, like, be thankful and grateful. Like, you have a face.
And you can breathe.
And you can breathe. And you can see. And you're okay. Like, you are okay. And what was deep about it, right, is that a lot of times, no, right?
we go,
we all right. We all right. You know, but it was ill, you know, it was ill because, like, you know, this woman had a husband who was, like, right by her side the whole time. And just right there, you know, and as Americans, I think we have this concept that we have to be perfect. Yeah. Everything has to be just so, everything has to be just in place. And it's like, you know, this man was with this woman with no face and was right there, like, during surgery, whole time, taking care of the baby. Just, that's my wife, and I love her, and we're gonna be okay. Wow.
That's huge. You know, it's interesting because the conversation, we were having a conversation yesterday with the PBS recording. It was like a bunch of artists were at Assemble Sound, and they were doing like a recording with someone outside, so the rest of us were kind of just chilling inside. And we were talking about how, like, those of us who have social media, I mean, all of us do because we're all on social media
right now.
that we, like, very meticulously curate our Instagram pages and our life and our Facebook and what we're doing and what images. Like, I do the same thing. Like, you take a million pictures and then you're like,
you pick the best one.
Which one is and it's like, girl, you look the same in all of that. It's just, your head is this way, your head is this way. You're like, you look essentially the same in all of them. But I think we feel, because of media in general, not just social media, because of media in general, we only see perfect images. And so we feel like, okay, maybe I have to compete with that. And I don't even think that's something that's verbalized to us.
Oh, no, but
it's there.
You feel it. I mean, you know, it's yeah, you just feel it. You, especially, I think that the new body pressure, you know what I mean? The new body pressure is real, you know, to just see how many people are getting, like, plastic surgery, and you have to be, like, perfect, and your waist has to be this, and your butt has to be this big. It's like, what about the girls who don't have big butts? Like, what do you...
Let's just accept... You know, this affected me today, and Ismail will attest to this because he was so mad at me. I had my hijab on, but it was as a turban.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past couple of years, I've gained a little bit of weight, so I have, a little bit of a, double chin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that I have to say that, but it makes me
And
feel
it's 2 seconds.
uncomfortable,
Mm.
And I had it on, and he was like, just leave it, it looks fine. And I was like, no, I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to put it like this, or I'm going to play around with it, because in that moment, even though I'm telling myself, no, Tazeen, just, you look fine, just accept who you are, but I still did it. And I was conscious of it.
Yeah, and we all, and I think that is the...
Look at his face. He's
but I mean, and again, and I think that's even beautiful too, to just have people around us that affirm that we are okay, that we're fine. And I feel like society and people can just be so harsh and tell us that we're not, so it's just, I feel like people who are choosing activism in any way, shape, or form, it's so essential. We are actively inviting you to give yourself and give other permissions to be who they are.
Completely.
That's it.
I love that the first time I met Mahogany was at the DIA, actually. Was it that?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
That's
it was.
right,
That
and I
was
saw you
that
in
was
your
the first
skirt.
time when I was in my skirt. Yeah, the one with pockets.
Yes.
And so that Mahogany was performing with
With
Mike.
Mike? Oh my
Mike's
God.
And that was actually
Yes.
Ismail's first time performing with Mike.
That's
And then they ended up being on a DIA billboard.
That's right. Like what, a
together.
month later?
Yeah.
Or maybe 3 weeks later?
Yeah.
We're still up there.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny because that day, I still remember, I felt really self-conscious. And I was like, oh my God, I look huge. And this and that. And this girl comes up to me afterwards and she's like, I'm doing this campaign.
Wait. Now I have to go to my phone.
What is it? Unapologetically woman?
It's called Not Your Assumptions, which I'm
Not
doing
Your
a campaign
Assumptions,
again.
yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I want to talk about, if I could talk a little bit about that as well. So I'm going to look up the picture because it's so funny. Do you know that your image is still, is the mainstay image that I use to share with other people?
Oh my God.
About the campaign.
Why did you tell me that?
I swear, because it came out so, it's stunning. I'm about to show you guys this image.
I felt
it's
so
stunning.
self-conscious.
Oh, that's great.
And I felt like
that's
my
crazy.
face is so round and I felt so self-conscious.
And you know what's funny is that the whole, how you could just feel, I don't know, I sound weird. I'm not weird. I'm not like spooky.
I promise.
You can feel when you ever just see somebody at school and be like, oh, I want to be their friend.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm going to be her friend. Like, that is what I felt when I saw. I was like, I want to be her friend. And I was like, she is so cute. I swear, I remember.
Stop.
And then I saw y'all, so I was like, I want to be their friend. They look cool. And I didn't even know that, I didn't know.
You had no idea.
I had no idea.
That's so
I just
funny.
was like, she looks so cool. So I have to.
I felt the same way about you.
I
did. I did.
Okay, wait, I'm about to show y'all real quick.
I can't
this image
believe that,
is
though.
stunning. Yeah, no, and I'm so happy it's posted on my page. But like I said, it is the mainstay image that I use when I want to show people the power of the campaign. And I love what you said was just so poignant. And again, that thing that just gave people permission. It just empowered women. Like, I'm sorry, I'm taking forever.
Look at Christina with all the hearts.
Oh, kiss, kiss, kiss. Yes.
It definitely felt really uncomfortable. But at the same time, I remember having a conversation with myself.
Oh, look at this, guys. Can you see? You might not be able.
Maybe if you bring it close.
Let's see if you can see it. Can you see it?
I'll be posted
Wait,
after.
cut the. Oh yeah,
it's on my Instagram.
We'll
You guys
post it
can see
after.
them.
I'm gonna like.
Oh my God, it's gonna come back up.
Stunning. They're stunning.
And I swear, I felt like. And okay, so I had a conversation with myself as I was posting that when you had sent it to me, and I was like, I feel uncomfortable, but you know what? This is me. I just need to accept it, and I'm just gonna support, and I'm gonna put it out. It doesn't matter how I feel about it. And it was hard.
Yeah, no.
But sometimes I think like that's a form of activism too, is unconditioning yourself. And decolonizing your mind to, like your assumptions of what is beautiful.
You can say that again. There's so much power in that alone. what we think, that's what we are.
Yeah.
And training our thinking, I think that's why, you know, one of the biggest things for me, for like, I guess, for my activism really are social media campaigns, you know. And this year, again, I'm doing Not Your Assumptions, but this time I wanted to live outside of social media. So what we're doing is we are taking about 30 images of women and inviting other image makers. So women won't just send in pictures of themselves. We're going to have photographers and visual artists take images of women that they admire and get quotes from them. And we're going to at first have the images live in businesses, different like 4 owned women businesses throughout the city of Detroit, and then encourage people to go patronize those women-owned businesses and go see the art. And then ultimately have a culminating exhibition on the 28th at Detroit Fiber Works on Livernois. So if you're a Detroiter, make sure you come out.
Check it out.
Because it's going to be beautiful. And so if I reach out to you, please say yes. This is also, I love pictures. I took that picture at the DIA with just my little camera phone. And my mother got sick of me taking pictures with camera phones, so she got me a real camera. So, yeah. So this is my first go.
That's a good mom.
Yes, good mommy.
Good mom.
Good mommy. So use what you got. Do talk about
She
the
said,
things
"Oh
that
my
matter
God,
to you."
Mahogany, that's amazing."
Thank you. I can't wait. I'm really nervous. It feels bigger than me. And that's another thing. It will feel bigger than you.
Yeah.
Let it feel bigger than you. It's supposed to feel bigger than you.
Because it's not about you.
It's not about you. If it doesn't feel bigger than you, if it's just about you, it's probably not activism. If it feels
so true. Can you say that again?
If it's not bigger than you, if it's just about you, it's probably not activism. Probably.
Wow. Not probably, but it is.
It's not.
It's
just not. It's not. And you feel like, and you're not by yourself, you know, and just having, I think doing stuff for others is, you know, when talking about building confidence and confidence builders, I've been doing these workshops with girls. One of the things that they say you should do, aside from just keeping good hygiene and, you know, just doing nice things for yourself, is do nice things for other people. Yeah. It's an immediate confidence builder. So we are designed to serve. We're designed to serve other people. That it's in us. We don't live isolated lives. So
and we naturally feel better.
Yeah, you feel better, and it takes confidence to ask for help. Yeah. You know, a lot of times we're afraid to be vulnerable, or we're afraid to realize that in our fragility we need help. It's like, yo, I ain't got it. I need help. Can you help me? If you know, and then when you realize, like, oh, some people are willing to help you, it helps you get over rejection. And those who aren't willing to help you, it's like, okay, they just can't. That's okay. You move on. You know. So
how? I'm quoting that. I'm quoting that. How do you then? I think one of the reasons, not just our ego, but one of the reasons why maybe we don't ask for help and reach out is because that fear of rejection.
Oh, we're traumatized.
Right? And we're traumatized by it, and we don't want to feel that again. But if we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable, then we might not have those, we're not going to have those positive experiences, you know, that we would have had we reached out and someone had accepted.
I mean, even you asking me, you know, to do this, I think that this series is really, it's just important.
We have 1 minute. We're going to log out. But finish your comment.
Okay. I think it's just really important that you're doing this, and I'm really just happy that you asked me to, like, be a part of it. I think it's cool.
I'm happy that you did.
So, look, if I reach out to you, if you know a woman business that is a brick and mortar that needs some foot traffic, we have 2 more slots, really 3 more slots left. There are 3 Metro Detroit businesses that we would love to help promote and bring traffic to your business. So we are asking you to allow our portraits, about 2 to 4, to live in your business. And we are going to put a list of all the businesses and encourage people to come to your business if you allow this to live there. It costs money for us to print and for us to get the frames. I'm buying the frames for them. The hors d'oeuvres will cost money. Yeah. The DJ will cost money. And to print flyers and to list out and to get a flyer design, it all costs money. And our organization is just starting. So if you want to support our efforts, please, we definitely welcome. If you don't, that's okay, because it's still going to happen. News. And I'm just going to figure it out.
Or just, if you can't, just spread the news.
Just spread the news and let other people know. We definitely want to invite you. If you would like to be one of the women a part of the campaign, please DM me. My artist page is MAHOGANYJONS. My regular page or my everyday person page is Charisse, CHARYSE, Mahogany Bailey. I know it sounds weird, but I just kind of needed a differentiation. Like, I'm a human. I
And
like
this is-
do human stuff.
What do people call you?
People mostly call me Mahogany because it's kind of like a term of endearment. But sometimes people like get weird on me and they like will try to call me Charisse, like just to try to like establish like this extra layer of coolness. Like, oh, I know you personally. It's like people who know me personally call me Mahogany. Just settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down. Don't do that.
You're doing too much.
You're doing too much.
Way
now,
too much at that point.
We're doing way too much. Now if it's like whatever, I'm not gonna go there. Bottom line is, if you're comfortable, whatever you're comfortable calling me, call me that, and I can know when you're not comfortable and you're trying to be extra. So don't be extra.
We can leave off on that note before you do something for us. Is that you can tell, we were talking about like activism and connecting with other people. I feel like it's so easy to tell when someone is authentic and genuine, and you can tell that within yourself too. Like, am I being genuine right now?
Yeah.
And I feel like there are moments where I question myself and I'm like, am I acting a certain way, or am I like, why am I acting a certain way, or why am I saying certain things or whatever? And I think just being cognizant of that and yeah,
That's good.
you know, and just vibe with people who are
Yeah.
genuine and be and let you be.
It's real people out here in these streets, dog. You feel me? He's over there being real.
These
He's being
streets
quiet.
are rough.
He's
Do you
so-
see all the
these
snow
streets-
and the ice out here?
These streets are rough when it's
You
sunny.
cannot
outside.
even park in front of your own apartment
like that.
building. You cannot. With that,
Yes.
um,
We're gonna make up something.
Mahogany Jones.
Okay. I don't know what we're gonna make up, but
You wanna sit here? You wanna stand?
More on the hill like that.
okay. Mm-hmm.
She just wants to smoke for a long time.
You can be in the scene. You can sit here now, babe. You don't have to be away.
You good.
This guy. He's like, you're good. You're good.
We can do it like this.
So now you have to sing too.
Oh God, no! This is about you.
No, it's us. It's the whole vibe. It's everybody together. Let's do it. But you gotta jump in. You gotta give me some.
Well, Sonia said y'all are so radiant,
Aw, it's the light, honey. This ring light is everything. Listen.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Like, look at that.
Ooh, I'm gonna get a ring light now.
Hold on. Put your whole face in it. Look at that. Look at that. It's light. You talk about issues with vanity. This is not gonna help you. This is I am feeding your vices.
Don't do that. Okay, let's see. Wanna know what activism is? Then go ahead and get active, kids. This is what we should do. This is the business. Let's be about that business. Let's rescue people in distress. Let's think about how we can give more, not less. Let's take a moment just to share what it is that we need to do. Let us all dare to tell the truth and all be truth sayers, dragon slayers, new conveyors of new messages. Let's take a moment to transcend this. Let's go ahead and let's end this. Let's end all the isms, all the schisms and divisions. Let's know what's going on right now. I said the schisms just make me sick to my stomach. Don't know what to do, but I just kick all the habits that are so habitual, all of the rituals that have me be oh so selfish, want to be selfless. So I take a moment just to assess what it is I need to let go of and what it is that I'm holding on to. And this is what I need to do. Bow down before the one who's true. And so I call him G-O-D to me, creator. Tell you what it is, he the one who elevates all. Take me to whole nother levels. Yes, I be disheveled, be hot, sloppy mess. But yes, I do undress, attest that he is the one who makes me righteous. Tell you what I do tonight. Yes, indeed, I might just go ahead and ignite the spark. Be the light in the dark, but I don't do this on my own. Tell you what it is I do. I attempt to disown everything it is that I own. But I like the things, and I like to sing, and I like to bring a little joy to all my people in the streets and all my girls and all my boys. I said we all be girls and boys. Yes, we be the fans that we do this right now. I said I raise my hand, and I just want to be with you. You. I just want to be with you. You. I just want to be with you. You.
Thank you. That was Mahogany Jones.
That was lit. That was fun.
That was.
My gosh.
That was great. I was trying to put it in front of you, but then I didn't want to distract you.
No, that was good. Yeah, that was dope. And thank y'all for singing.
You gotta add a little bit of masala in the back.
Little sprinkle. So now I'm gonna put the spotlight on you. Where can we see you all next?
Where can you see us? Well, I was going to let you guys know that I host open mics at the Bottomline Coffee House, third Friday of the month. So that's coming up this Friday. So we will be there. 6:30 is when, it sort of starts and people start trickling in. 7 o'clock we start performances. And then it ends at like 9:30. And Fuki and Divine Providence, our band, always ends off the show. So we will be performing there. And
Come early because it gets packed.
it does. Last time was completely packed, which was exciting. It was just like really good vibes. So that's going on the 22nd, which is next Wednesday. We're performing at PJ Lager's house.
Ooh,
And
yes.
Trey Priest and his band's gonna be there. Kingdom X, his
Yes,
band's gonna be there. I
yes,
think there's
yes,
another
yes.
band, Blue Moon. That's gonna be a lit night.
Okay, that's a winner. I have
That-
a show on Friday. Wednesday is where
Wednesday.
it's at. PJ's Lager's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Thursday. That's the 22nd.
22nd, I think, is
Either
Wednesday.
one is dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one is gonna be really, really lit. It's from 8, and I think it's probably gonna go like 8 to 12, depending, because it's like 3 or 4 bands. But everyone performing is really dope.
Yeah, no,
So-
I love Trey. I don't know the other. I mean, I love y'all. I don't know Trey, so.
That's already a given.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And so yeah. And what about you?
What's going on?
You got your project, but anything else?
Y'all say a prayer for me. I'm working on new music, feeling intimidated. The new trap sound kind of got
Yes,
me like,
yes.
"Ugh." So I'm out here working on new music, looking for
Okay.
producers. I'm performing Black Woman Rock with Jessica Cameron.
Oh my God, yes. Get your tickets.
Get your tickets.
Let me tell you. Okay, tickets. Last year we did not get tickets because it sold out.
So fast.
It sells out at what is it called?
Early bird?
Early bird?
Yeah.
Early bird tickets for this show sells out.
Yes.
And this one is supposed to be like it's supposed to be Nona Hendrix, CeCe Peniston,
Is it the guitarist lady,
Idea.
that guitarist lady? I
Yes.
think that's- Oh, man.
Somebody who was here. They did the. I forgot her name.
Asia.
Her name. It's not. I forgot her name. She was just here. She
was
did
it
the.
Jackie.
Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah.
She's gonna be. It's just gonna be crazy.
It is gonna be crazy.
It's
So
gonna be
definitely get
crazy.
your,
So
so
get
you're
your ticket.
performing there.
Yeah, I'm performing the 28th with Kaylin. Do y'all know Kaylin Waterman? Do you
I
understand? Kaylin Waterman is a folk singer fairy. She's a fairy. She's magical. She's
Wow.
awesome. She's super dope. Beautiful
So when
voice,
is
great
that?
songwriter. That's the 28th. It's called the Vesper. It's myself, another young lady, and her,
We have a
and it's
busy
at the
March.
Marlboro Bar.
We have a busy March.
Oh my God.
We are.
I know, right? Well, no, that's not March. That's the end of this month
That's
on the
the end of-
28th.
If you can
Yeah.
send me the info,
Yeah.
I'll post it all so everyone can see it, and I'll post it on the Facebook group too.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
And
And we have to cook up our collaboration. Don't be thinking I'm a funny actor. I swear, y'all. Don't do me like that. Just know I love
you.
y'all.
Make your favorite treats while we're doing it.
Huh?
make your favorite treats.
while you're doing
Ah!
Yeah, okay, I will end it off with a story. I'm gonna end this off with a story, and the story is this: when I met Mahogany, she told me about how, you know, as an ambassador, cultural ambassador, she went to Pakistan, and that's where my people are from, Pakistan. And she
Oh. Sorry.
and she told me that she really loved these desserts called gulab jamun, and gulab jamun are like delicious. It's like these round fried dough type
like a
thing in like a rose sugar water. It's just really, it's delicious.
Like a
And she was telling me about this. And then I went to visit my mom the next day. My mom had made gulab jamun.
Y'all can't tell me God ain't real.
She made them the next day. It was the next morning. And I called her up and I said, listen, my mom just made some. Meet me in Detroit. Meet me at Bottomline. I'm bringing you some.
And I'm so greedy that I took a picture and I still got the picture. And it was in the cutest little styrofoam with my name on it.
Sure, I put your name
and
to
I
make sure
wanted to keep the styrofoam.
You did that little food dance when you just.
Okay, we're done.
So yeah,
We out.
with that, that's our last story. That's how that energy flow works. So I said that's how that energy flow works. That's
exactly.
true. That's true. And whatever you put out there,
It comes back.
it comes back. So put everything positive out, and what you want, put that out there too, and let things happen. Let the stars align.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.